All right, welcome back, everybody. Ready for another deep dive?
Definitely.
Today we're tackling memory.
Ooh, fun.
How to improve it, how to make it work better for us, all that good stuff.
I like it.
We're using How to Memorize Anything by Aditi Singhal to guide us through.
Very cool.
She's a memory trainer and a Guinness World Record holder.
Wow, impressive.
So I think we're in good hands here, ready to unearth those memory secrets.
I'm ready.
I don't know about you, but have you ever walked into a room
Oh, yeah.
completely spaced on why you're there?
Happens all the time.
It's like, what is going on with our brains?
It's funny, the book opens with a whole bunch of those relatable moments.
Real?
Just those everyday memory slip-ups that make you wonder,
Am I losing it?
is this normal?
But the interesting thing is, the book kind of throws out that whole bad memory thing.
Yeah, it challenges that idea right from the start.
So no more beating ourselves up for forgetting where we left our phone then.
Exactly. It's more about recognizing the potential we have.
Okay, so we've all got this hidden memory superpower.
That's the idea.
But how do we unlock it? Do we have to, climb a mountain and meditate for a year?
Uh-huh. No, not quite that extreme.
What's the secret then?
The book lays it all out, starting with memory basics.
Makes sense. Gotta start somewhere.
Then it goes into specific techniques.
Oh, getting into the nitty-gritty.
Even has sections for students and some fun memory tricks sprinkled in.
Sounds pretty comprehensive, like a full-on memory toolkit.
It really is.
I'm hooked already. So let's go back to that idea of there being no such thing as a bad memory.
Right.
Is it really that simple?
Well, not necessarily simple, but it's a shift in perspective.
Okay, I'm listening.
The book compares our brains to hardware
Interesting.
and memory techniques to software.
Ah, I see where this is going.
So it's like saying anyone can upgrade their software with the right training.
So it's not about the hardware we're born with. It's about the programs we run.
That's the gist of it.
I like that analogy.
Okay.
Puts things into perspective.
It can make a big difference.
So what's the first software upgrade we need to install in our mental operating systems?
The book introduces this principle called AR.
AR, like what we breathe.
Haha, not quite. It stands for association, imagination, and ridiculous.
Now that's intriguing.
It's all about creating these outlandish mental images to link information together.
Ridiculous, huh? So to have a good memory, I need to embrace my inner weirdness.
You got it. The weirder, the better, actually.
Okay, this I got to hear more about.
Our brains are wired to remember things that are vivid, unusual, even a little shocking.
So you got to shock our brains into remembering.
In a way, yes. And connecting things to strong emotions also helps.
That makes sense. I guess strong emotions are memorable.
Exactly. So by creating these bizarre mental pictures, we're tapping into that natural encoding system.
Like hacking our own brain.
Think of it that way, yeah.
The book says this works even for boring stuff like grocery lists.
Oh, definitely. It gives some great examples.
All right, I'm game. Let's say my list is milk, eggs, bread, bananas, and toothpaste.
Classic grocery list.
How do I turn that into a memory masterpiece?
Well, instead of just picturing the items themselves,
Right, that's kind of dull.
try visualizing like a giant carton of milk exploding.
Exploding milk. All right, I'm with you.
And it drenches this massive mountain of eggs.
Okay, getting weirder? I like it.
Then those eggs hatch into tiny loaves of bread.
Whoa, tiny bread loaves.
And they chase after a pack of dancing bananas.
Dancing bananas. This is getting good.
And finally, the bananas squeeze toothpaste onto a giant toothbrush.
All right, that's definitely a memorable image.
See, it's like a bizarre cartoon playing out in your head.
Definitely bizarre, but I think I can already see those images sticking with me.
That's the power of ridiculous imagery. The book calls it stickiness.
Makes sense. It's definitely stuck in my mind.
That's the goal, turning a boring list into a memorable spectacle.
So we've established our brains have a taste for the absurd.
Seems that way.
But what about things that aren't easily visualized?
Like what?
Like abstract concepts or unfamiliar words.
Ah, good point. For those, the book suggests the personal nickname method.
Personal nickname method. Interesting.
Or PNN for short.
Got it. PNN.
It's especially helpful for information that doesn't instantly conjure up a picture.
Like, scientific terms.
Exactly. Or names. Those can be tricky.
Oh, names are my kryptonite. I'm terrible with remembering them.
Happens to the best of us.
I meet someone new and their name just flies right out of my head.
Well, imagine you meet a client,
Okay.
name, say, Mr. Stevenson.
Mr. Stevenson, all right.
Instead of trying to visualize that name directly,
It's kind of hard. It's just a name.
you could think, like Stephen King, the author.
Oh, that's clever.
So picture him shaking Mr. Stevenson's hand.
Okay, got the handshake.
But instead of a normal hand, he has this monstrous claw.
Whoa, a Stephen King monster claw handshake. That I won't forget.
See? You're linking the unfamiliar name to a familiar visual.
I'm starting to see how this works.
The book has tons of examples. It's great for students learning new vocabulary.
Oh, that makes sense.
Even countries and capitals. Imagine trying to remember the capital of Ukraine is Kyiv.
Okay, Ukraine, Kyiv. Tough one.
You could break down Ukraine into Ukraine
Ukraine, like operating a crane?
and picture yourself lifting a giant kiwi fruit with it.
Ah, Kyiv sounds like kiwi. I'm getting it.
That's it. It's all about finding those connections.
These are pretty wild, but I can see how they'd work.
They're designed to stick in your mind.
What about when you need to remember things in order, though?
Like what?
Like a presentation, a set of instructions, anything sequential.
In that case, the hide-and-seek method is your friend.
Hide and seek. Now you're really getting creative.
It's all about choosing a familiar route or location.
Okay, I'm picturing my daily commute.
Perfect. Or your living room. Anything you know well,
Yeah.
you mentally hide pieces of information at different points along that route.
So like a mental scavenger hunt.
Yeah.
That's fun.
Exactly. Imagine you need to memorize the 12 zodiac signs.
Okay, 12 signs? That's a lot.
Your commute could be your route.
All right, starting at my front door.
Picture a giant ram bursting through it.
A ram. Okay, that's Aries, first sign.
Then at the bus stop, a stubborn bull blocking the bus.
Taurus. I'm getting it. So each stop on my route is a new sign.
That's the idea. It taps into your spatial memory, making it easier to recall things in order.
This is blowing my mind. It's like weaving a story through my everyday life.
That's what makes it effective, and the book highlights how versatile it is. You can use it for any ordered list.
I'm starting to see that. The possibilities are endless.
Exactly. It's about finding what works for you.
This deep dive is already changing how I think about memory.
I'm glad to hear it.
From ridiculous imagery to mental treasure hunts, it's a whole new world. And speaking of memory tricks,
Yes.
what about mnemonics?
The classics.
Like, every good boy deserves fudge for musical notes.
Everyone knows that one.
Are there other types, though? Beyond the basic rhymes and acronyms?
Oh, absolutely. The book delves into some lesser-known mnemonics.
Do tell.
There are rhyme mnemonics, where you turn information into catchy rhymes or poems.
Like 30 days hath September for remembering how many days are in each month.
That's a perfect example.
I use that one all the time. Never thought of it as a mnemonic, though.
It is. It's a memory tool in disguise.
What else is there?
Acrostics are another one.
Acrostics. Remind me how those work.
You create sentences where the first letter of each word represents an item on a list.
Ooh, I could use that for packing lists or grocery shopping.
Exactly. And the book even mentions music mnemonics.
Music mnemonics. Now that's interesting.
It's setting information to music for easier recall.
Like turning the periodic table into a catchy pop song.
Pretty much. Our brains love music.
I can imagine. Who hasn't gotten a song stuck in their head for days?
The book actually mentions the Hannah Montana bone dance as an example. She needed to memorize all the bones in the human body.
No way. So Hannah Montana is secretly a memory master.
Maybe so. It just shows that learning shouldn't be a chore. It's about finding those fun and creative ways to make information stick.
Absolutely. Makes you wonder why they don't teach us this stuff in school.
It would make learning so much more engaging, wouldn't it?
Okay, but let's be real for a sec.
What's up?
Numbers can be a real pain to remember.
Oh, tell me about it.
I'm constantly forgetting pins, passwords, all that.
I feel that.
Does the book offer any hope for us number-challenged folk?
It does. It tackles those tricky digits head on.
Lay it on me. What's the secret?
One technique is the number phrase technique.
Number phrase technique, all right?
It's surprisingly simple. You convert numbers into words to form phrases.
Oh, that sounds kind of fun, actually.
It is. Imagine a phone extension, 2625.
2625. Got it.
You could turn that into, my father is funny.
My father is funny. I can picture that.
Easy to visualize, right? And it links to the numbers.
Okay, that's doable. But what about really long numbers? Like my credit card number, I can never remember it.
For those longer sequences, the book introduces what are called peg systems.
Peg systems, what are those?
You create mental pegs, like visual hooks, for each number.
Intriguing. So I'm hanging information on these pegs.
Precisely. One common method is the number rhyme system.
Okay, rhymes. I like it.
You associate numbers with rhyming images.
Okay, give me an example.
One is sun, 2 is shoe, 3 is tree, and so on.
Got it. 1 sun, 2 shoe, 3 tree.
Now, let's say you need to remember a 4-digit code like 1835.
1835. Okay, what do I do?
You could picture a sun wearing a pair of shoes, climbing a tree, and holding a hive of bees.
Whoa, that's a wild image, but I think I can see it.
See, instead of digits, you have a story.
This is amazing. I'm actually starting to enjoy this. But what about really long numbers, like memorizing pi to the 100th decimal place?
For those epic sequences, we've got the phonetic peg system.
Phonetic peg system sounds intense.
It might sound complex, but it's all about assigning consonants to digits.
Consonants to digits. Hold on, how does that work?
For example, the digit 0 is associated with the sounds S or Z.
0 is S or Z. Okay.
1 is T or D, 2 is N, and so on.
So each digit has its own consonant sound.
That's right, allowing you to create words from those digits.
So instead of a random string of numbers, I have a word I can actually visualize.
Exactly. Our brains are much better at remembering words and images than abstract sequences.
This is incredible. We've covered so much ground, but it feels like we've only scratched the surface.
You've just dipped our toes in. There's so much more to explore.
What about remembering dates, especially birthdays? Does the book offer any help with those?
It does. It combines phonetic codes with some calendar knowledge to help you figure out the day of the week for any date.
Wait, are you serious? You're telling me I can just magically know what day of the week someone was born on?
It's not magic, but it feels like it. You break down the date into its components, year, month, and day.
Okay, so like February 23rd, 1976.
Perfect example. Then you use this simple formula, factoring in things like leap years and assigning numerical values to months.
Wow, a formula.
And you arrive at a final number that corresponds to the day of the week.
Okay, I'll have to check out the specifics in the book, but that sounds incredibly cool. Like a party trick.
It's a fun one to try out.
This has been amazing. We've gone from embracing the ridiculous to becoming mental treasure hunters to cracking the code of numbers.
I told you, this book is full of surprises.
But it feels like we've barely scratched the surface.
We've only just begun our memory journey.
There's so much to explore, so little time.
That's the beauty of learning. It's an ongoing adventure.
I'm definitely ready for more.
Me too.
We'll have to continue this deep dive another time.
Sounds like a plan.
I can't wait to see what other memory secrets we uncover.
There's a whole world waiting to be explored.
All right, stay tuned, everyone. We'll be back soon with even more memory-boosting insights.
Until next time.
Back again for more memory magic.
Ready to dive deeper.
Absolutely. I'm still amazed by all these techniques. It's incredible what our brains can do.
It really is. We often underestimate our own potential.
For sure. Feels like we've been given this secret code to unlock our minds.
It's about tapping into the way our brains naturally work.
But let's get practical. How can we actually use these stuff in the real world?
That's the key, isn't it?
The book mentions using these techniques for specific things like studying or remembering playing cards.
Right, it gets into those nitty-gritty applications.
Imagine acing exams, remembering everything effortlessly.
It could revolutionize how we approach learning.
Seriously.
Yeah.
I wish I knew about this back in school, all those hours spent cramming.
It's never too late to learn new tricks.
True. Even outside of school, these techniques could be super helpful.
Think about remembering names at a networking event.
Oh, that's a good one. I'm terrible with names.
Or giving a presentation without notes.
That would be amazing.
It's even just remembering your grocery list without having to check it a million times.
Okay, I'm sold. Give me the rundown. How can our listeners start applying this right away?
One area they can make an immediate impact is remembering names and faces.
That's a big one.
The book stresses focusing on distinctive features.
Okay, so pay attention to what makes someone unique.
And then use the PNN method, create a memorable association.
So instead of just their name, I'm also thinking about like their bright blue eyes or something.
Exactly. Let's say you meet someone named Emily with captivating green eyes.
Emily, green eyes, got it.
You could picture a tiny emerald nestled in her iris, reflecting her name.
That's a beautiful image. I can see it.
It connects Emily with her distinctive feature.
What about studying? Any tips for students out there?
Absolutely. The book suggests constructing mind maps.
We talked about those before, right? Those
Yeah.
visual diagrams that branch out.
You got it. It helps organize information visually.
Makes it less overwhelming, for sure.
And don't forget mnemonics.
Right. Rhymes, acronyms, all those fun memory tools.
They're a game changer for remembering lists, formulas, historical events, you name it.
And we know the book goes beyond the basic mnemonics, right?
Right.
Rhyme mnemonics, acrostics, all that.
There's a whole arsenal of mnemonic techniques out there.
Now, what about numbers? That's my Achilles heel.
Don't worry, those phonetic pegs we discussed can be a lifesaver.
Phonetic pegs, right? Like turning numbers into words.
It makes those PIPINs, customer IDs, credit card numbers so much easier to manage.
No more frantically searching for my wallet, that's for sure.
Exactly. The book has lots of examples and exercises to help you master it.
This deep dive has been mind-blowing. Debunking myths, exploring techniques. We even learned how to figure out the day of the week for any date.
We've covered a lot of ground.
But it feels like we've only scratched the surface.
There's always more to discover. That's the exciting part.
Before we wrap up this part, I think it would be helpful to sum up everything we've learned.
A good idea. A 10-point summary would be perfect.
A memory mastery cheat sheet.
I like it.
Right, principle number 1, what's the foundation here?
Recognize that everyone has the potential for a good memory.
It's not a fixed thing, we can improve it.
Exactly. It's a muscle you can train.
No more bad memory excuses. What's number 2?
Association. Connect new information to what you already know.
Building those mental bridges. Got it. Number 3.
Embrace the absurd. Our brains love vivid, unusual imagery.
The weirder, the better. And don't forget to personalize it.
That's number 4, the PNN method, finding unique associations that work for you.
So we've got our foundation. Now how do we organize it all?
Number 5, turn your brain into a treasure map with the hide-and-seek method.
Using familiar routes and locations to store information.
It makes remembering sequences so much easier.
And more fun. Speaking of fun, principle number 6.
Mnemonics. Rhymes, acronyms, they make remembering facts a breeze.
Mnemonics are a classic for a reason. All right, number 7, those tricky numbers.
Transform them into memorable phrases and images.
Number phrase technique, peg systems, we've got options.
And don't forget the power of the phonetic code, principle number 8.
Phonetic peg system, it's like a secret language for numbers.
It makes those long sequences much more manageable.
I'm actually starting to feel confident about remembering numbers now. What's next?
Principle number 9, the calendar knowledge plus phonetic codes combo.
Figuring out the day of the week for any date still feels like magic to me.
It's a fun one to practice.
Okay, 9 principles down. What's the final piece of advice?
Number 10, apply it all. Don't let this knowledge sit idle. Use it in your daily life.
That's it, make it practical.
From remembering names to acing exams, these strategies can make a real difference.
Wow, that's a fantastic summary.
Uh-huh.
Feels like we've packed a whole memory training program into 10 points.
It's a good starting point.
I'm feeling inspired already.
Remember, start small, be patient, find what works best for you.
It's a journey, not a race.
Exactly. And most importantly, have fun with it.
Memory improvement should be enjoyable.
Now, before we move on to the final part of our deep dive, I have a challenge for our listeners.
A challenge. Lay it on us.
Think about one piece of information you absolutely need to remember this week.
Okay, I'm thinking.
It could be anything, a presentation, a meeting, even someone's birthday.
Something important. Got it.
Challenge yourself to memorize it using one of the techniques we discussed today.
I love it. I'm already brainstorming what I'm going to memorize. Listeners, we want to hear from you.
Share your memory challenges and triumphs with us.
Let us know what you're trying to remember, what techniques you're using.
We're eager to hear about your experiences.
And don't go anywhere just yet.
We've got one more part to this deep dive.
We'll be back in a flash with even more memory-boosting insights. And we're back for the grand finale of our memory extravaganza.
Ready to put the finishing touches on our memory mastery toolkit.
I am so ready. We've got the foundation.
The building blocks.
Now let's see how we can apply these techniques to different areas of learning.
That's where it gets really exciting.
I'm all ears.
The book goes beyond general techniques.
Okay, even more advanced stuff.
And it gives specific strategies for different subjects.
Like what?
Science, history, math, you name it.
No way.
Yeah.
It's like tailoring these memory concepts to specific fields.
Exactly. It's about optimizing how we learn and retain information.
As someone who struggled with science in school,
I hear you.
I'm super curious about what the book has to say about those subjects.
It's got some great insights.
Did Aditi unlock any secrets for remembering the periodic table?
Oh yeah, she tackled that head on.
Tell me everything.
For the periodic table, which can feel like a jumble of letters and numbers,
It's so overwhelming.
she recommends combining the phonetic peg system with PNN.
Okay, those are two of our favorites.
Imagine crafting vivid, memorable images for each element. And it's atomic number.
So it's not just rote memorization.
It's about creating a visual anchor for each piece of information.
Turning the elements into a mental landscape. I love it.
It makes it so much more engaging for your brain.
I wish I had this back in high school. Chemistry would have been a breeze.
Never too late to learn new tricks.
The book doesn't stop there, though, right?
Not even close.
What else does it cover for science?
It goes into remembering chemical formulas,
Oh, man, those were tough.
balancing equations, even understanding those complex reactions,
It's like taking something intimidating,
and making it relatable.
dare I say, even fun.
Exactly. Learning should be an enjoyable process.
I never thought I'd hear fun and chemistry in the same sentence, but I'm starting to see the light.
It's about understanding, not just memorizing.
Okay, what about history? I always felt lost in all those dates and events.
History can be a challenge, for sure.
Any lifelines in the book for us history buffs?
Aditi stresses visualization and association for remembering those key dates.
So instead of just trying to recall, say, World War II ending in 1945,
Which is kind of dry.
I need something more impactful.
Imagine a giant calendar flip into that year,
Okay, a giant calendar. I'm with you.
with fireworks erupting in the sky, symbolizing the war's end.
Wow, I could practically see and hear those fireworks.
It's about creating a powerful sensory experience.
So much more engaging than just staring at a date on a page.
Definitely. It brings history to life.
All right, now for the big one, math.
Uh-oh, what's up with math?
Formulas were my absolute nemesis.
They can be tricky.
Any hope for us formula-fearing folks?
The book suggests acronyms, rhymes, even storytelling to make them more meaningful.
Okay, that sounds promising.
For example, to remember the trigonometric ratios in the Pythagorean theorem.
Oh no, not the Pythagorean theorem.
Think of the acronym SOHCAH2A.
Wait a minute. SOHCAH2A.
You've heard that before.
My math teacher drilled that into our heads. I had no idea it was an acronym. It would have made so much more sense.
It's about finding those memory hooks.
So we've got chemistry, history, math. What about physics and biology?
The book's got you covered there, too.
Give me the highlights.
For physics, it's all about visualization.
Okay, so picturing those concepts.
To grasp things like motion, gravity, energy.
I can see how that would help, turning those abstract principles into something tangible.
And for biology, it's constructing mental maps and diagrams.
Organizing all those complex systems.
Exactly. It's like creating a visual blueprint in your mind.
It's incredible. We're basically rewiring our brains to learn more effectively.
That's the power of these techniques.
Yeah. From mental landscapes to stories, it's a whole new way of thinking.
And it's not about having some superhuman ability.
It's about using the right tools.
Finding what works for your brain.
This deep dive has been truly transformative.
I'm so glad to hear that.
I went from feeling limited by my memory to realizing I have the power to improve it.
That's what I hope everyone takes away from this.
It's empowering. It's exciting.
Anyone can enhance their memory.
It's not some elite skill.
It's about starting small, experimenting, finding what resonates with you.
Turning memory improvement into an adventure.
I love that. An adventure.
This journey has been incredible, filled with fascinating insights and practical techniques.
We even had a few mind-blowing moments along the way.
I think it's time to wrap up our incredible deep dive into memory mastery.
Before we do, I want to leave our listeners with one final thought.
A parting piece of wisdom.
Don't let this knowledge sit idle. Pick one technique that sparked your curiosity.
Any technique, big or small.
And try it out in your own life. You might be surprised by the results.
Excellent advice.
Keep exploring, keep experimenting.
And most importantly, have fun with it.
Memory improvement should be enjoyable.
Absolutely. A big thank you to everyone for joining us on this deep dive.
It's been a pleasure exploring with you.
And until next time, keep those mental gears turning.
So long, everyone.